Hello, friends. I'm Rahul from JTech Solutions. I hope you all are doing well. And today's video is going to be about a very interesting topic called the wrapper classes. So let's get right into the video. As we know, there are in total 8 primitive data types: uh, byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, and char. Wrapper class is a way to turn a primitive data type into an object. The process is called boxing. And when we convert a wrapper class object back into its corresponding primitive data type, the process is called unboxing. Now, you may ask, why do we need the wrapper classes? Well, as we know, Java is an object-oriented programming language in which everything is treated as an object. Primitive data types, on the other hand, are not objects. They're just built-in keyword values of Java and do not belong to any package or class. Several Java features, for example, such as inheritance, polymorphism, and generics, they cannot directly interact with primitive data types, although they can deal with objects. That's where the wrapper classes come in handy. For instance, the Java collection framework we frequently employ only works with objects and not primitive data types. Every wrapper class in Java has 2 constructors. First one is to bind corresponding primitive data type, and the second one is to bind the same data type but in the form of string. For example, let's look at byte. So byte has 2 constructors, byte and string. Short has 2 constructors, short and string. Same with integer. The constructors are called int and string. For long, long and string. Now, float has 3 constructors. It can parse the values of float, double, and string. Double has 2 constructors, double and string. Boolean has 2 constructors, boolean and string, and the last one, character, has only one constructor, which is called char. A couple examples. I'm going to declare a variable, which is going to be a primitive data type, let's give it age, and the value will give it 1. Now, let's look at boxing first. What's boxing? So the process of wrapping, or basically parsing, a primitive value into an object is called boxing. Now, let's do that. Integer. Okay. Now I'm going to parse this primitive value, primitive data type, into an object. Now, what I'm doing is wrapping the value of primitive data type into this object. Now, as the name suggests, wrapping classes. So that's what it is. I'm wrapping the value of primitive data type to the object, into the object. And now if I try to display it, let's do that system. Okay, let's try to print out a OBJ. As you can see, I'm getting a value of 1, which is this primitive data type parsed via an object. Now this object carries the value of integer, which is a primitive data type, via parsing. Now, let's say you have a string, and let's create a new string here. Give it a value 2. Now, let's say you're going to parse the value of a string. Now, as you might remember from the last slide, there was, as I mentioned, every wrapper class has two constructors other than corrector and float. Float has 3 and corrector has 1. They all have 2 constructors. In this case, integer has 2 constructors, which is the main value, which is integer, and string. Now, in this case, we parsed via integer. We parsed primitive value of int. Now, as you know, it supports 2 constructors, so that means we can also parse the value of a string. So let's try doing that. obj2 and try to print out 2. This time I wrapped the value of a string into the integer object. There you go. So string, the value for the string is 2 and it's being parsed via an integer object. Now keep in mind the string passed to second constructor, which is the string constructor, must be in the form of a number. It must be parsable to a number, or you will get an error called number format exception. So for example, if I change the value of the string to, let's say, John, and I try to run this program, this is the error that I will get, number format exception, since it's not parsable. It must be in the form of a number. If I change the number, let's say 12, we have the output of 12. So this was boxing. Now unboxing. Now in unboxing, what we're trying to do is, so the process of taking the value of a primitive data type out of an object is called unboxing. So in this case, I basically put in the value of a primitive data type into an object. Now I'm trying to take the value of the object out from this object, let's say object 1, back to primitive data type. It's called unboxing. So let's create a primitive data type, create a variable there, integer, let's name it C. Okay, so we'll take the value of obj1, object 1, out to the C. So since this is an integer value, the method that I'm going to need to use to take the value out is called int value. Okay, so if I try to print this out, I should get the value of 1, which is right here. 1 is the value of A, which went from A to object 1, and I was taking it back from object 1 to the primitive data type C. Same with string. Let's name it D. This time we'll take the value of object 2. Now, since it's a value of string, the method that you will be using is called toString. There you go. All right, friends. I hope this was a helpful video for you. And if you want me to cover any of the topics, just let me know. Leave a comment below. And you have a good one. Take care. Bye for now. See you soon.